You can stay if you want.
I
have exams. Exams.
Exams come and go. Knowledge doesn't.
That's true. Knowledge stays.
I hope I can persuade my friend and Leighton to come here. My enlistment fellow, but I don't know that they will come here because paper something like that. I have a paper. We have a paper, but then it is as you said, it's a good opportunity.
That is.
How many of you are from Leiden?
Only two of us.
You know, the one thing that I loved about Leiden that I miss here is the bookstore.
Yes. No, Tilburg is not having any serious bookstore.
That's very true.
I can't tell you. I was that week in Leiden. I was in heaven.
Yeah.
I would teach my class. I'd go to the bookstore. I'd stay there till it closes.
And probably you went home with a lot of extra books.
Yes, I did. And the budget was completely messed up.
Okay, I'll leave you for a couple of minutes, but I will return.
Shall we start?
Yes.
All right. Who would like to? By the way, I realize that the formal requirements for this class is not going to probably work out as planned.
Yes.
The advantage of a small class is that we can negotiate what is manageable, what is doable, right? So instead of, I'll be honest with you, if you read my book, Rebellion and Violence in Islamic Law, this book could take you 6 months reading it. It's a very, very dense text. So we could come to some accommodation. The advantage, of course, is that I'll get a sense of the intellectual quality and be able to assess the intellectual quality rather than the formalistic requirements. So I haven't decided. Obviously, it's not going to work that you will write essays about my books. But I haven't decided what else. Perhaps you would write an opinion piece about some issue, a more limited issue that would make more sense. But I hope that you can focus on the opportunity to learn and engage in discourse far more than what grade you get. I personally detest grades. I don't like grades. The worst part of teaching is having to grade. But my proposal to the dean of having a law school that doesn't give grades was not accepted. The dean laughed. All right, anyway. Okay, who wants to go first? I'm a teacher. Have we lost another person? Or
I think only three of us because he's coming from history.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll manage to keep you or convince you to stay.
I just come today. I'm not registered before. I just come.
It's not exactly there's. It's not exactly like there is a waiting list. I'm sure if you tell them you want to register, they will probably buy you flowers and really. After all,
I'm starting now. My name is Khaled Rahmatullah. It's given by my father. I thought that every name has a meaning that's from the maybe it's like a student to seek to God blessing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay.
A mercy from God.
Yeah. This is from God. So I'm a master student at Leiden University for Islamic Studies. So I've found this course actually from my friend. So I registered the day before the limit end. And my experience about Islamic studies actually motivate me to join this class because as my experience in Indonesia, Islamic law it's not really taken into account because as we are like taught by kind of the normative, so sometimes we nothing to do with the social and the social and political. Even there is a lot of people think about it, but as the student at the university, EIN, State Islamic University, we quite rarely, barely find this side of knowledge. And after joining Leiden University, so our mind is open with various of a new idea about what is Islam. After our friend in Indonesia said that why you should go to West country to study Islam? Why don't you go to Middle East? That's the central for Islamic knowledge. That the books of the Islamic intellectual rooted at that place. So, but finally found here that actually there is a differentiate between, let's say that we are taught to become a good Muslim, as our professor said, that you here in Leiden, you here in the Western intellectual discourse about Islam, it's not to teach you become a good Muslim, but just to give you an overview and the different that you should take a distance to see what is real Muslim society is. And then don't you expect that you are become a good Muslim, even not to become a bad Muslim. So we will not teach you something like that, just to see Islam as a social perspective and anthropological perspective. Under this condition, I found that Islamic law has become more central. That's the new idea that I found here, because during the class and as far as I know, after reading a lot of articles, that the general idea of Islamic society is the tension between Islamic law in the modern Islam, tension between Islam and then local custom and the state law. So before I can understand what's going on through the history of Islamic society, and what is the debate in Indonesia itself as a Muslim. So whether they thought that this is forbidden, just for now, I found that the Majlis Ulama in Indonesia thought that Facebook is haram. So under this context, Facebook is haram because there is a gambling. So the owners before is the Jews or something. But actually, from my experience, that it's really give a different view about how and what's going on in the Muslim, whether especially in Indonesia and at general, what kind of the tone that really spreading up to this region, and what is the relation between Middle East and then to Indonesia, the South Asia, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think in general, it's my conclusion that to this new idea of Islam, because actually I'm not from a department that talk about Islamic law. I'm coming from a department of history, so. For Islamic law, it is something new that, sometimes I couldn't understand about the legal term of in Islam, even in my class. Yeah, sometimes I know the term, but most of them like legal rationing and legal pluralism and something like this. It's rather new, but it is useful to see how the general idea about Muslim through history, and how the shifting between one period to the other period, and what is the really a social and economical and political aspect that motivate the Muslim situation.
Do you have particular professors that you work with the most, or consider your advisors? For your masters?
For our class, for Islamic laws and anthropology of Islamic law is Professor Leon Busken. He taught about this, and I think the other class is only the exception. So for compulsory class is about anthropology of Islamic law, so taught by Professor Leon Busken.
And how long have you been at University of Leiden so far?
So far it's almost 10 months.
10 months. Directly from Indonesia?
Directly from Indonesia. So it is kind from, actually we are from different, intellectual focus that come to Leiden in Islamic study and taught by one particular that is rather new for us. So even for me, it's rather new to know your name here, to tell frankly.
And there are a lot of Indonesian and Malaysian students who typically they go to Azhar, and the Azhar literally has a huge population of Malaysian and Indonesian students. I would assume that was an option that you could have pursued, right? You could have chosen to go to Azhar and go through that route. But two questions here. What made you pick Leiden, and why do you think Leiden accepted you?
For the first question, I thought that why I chose Leiden. First, it is a famous university, especially for people who studied in history. So the first time, and it's a lot of I think the reason is about the collection, Oriental collection, especially about Islam in Indonesia and the past time in the colonial era. So it's I think it's fascinating to me to get involved in that university who has a big name and a great collection, or a great Oriental collection. And for the second question, that's really I don't know, because I think we are past the selection interview, or yeah, I hope I have a spirit. That's maybe the one that why they accept.
They must have seen. I mean, you mustn't suspect that there's something about your own background that made you stand out, because I mean, typically they have applicants.
They have enrichment project. I mean, each year
For this
since 1990s, and it's been a continuity for them to acquire enrichment student to go there, especially to study about English and Islam. So that's why each year they always get enrichment student, almost each year, almost every year.
But they must are the selection criteria competitive? Are they difficult, or?
It's competitive, and usually this Innocent Islam project is only for alumni from Muslim State Institute, Islamic Muslim State Institute, and usually it's not many of them who propose to this university because the English requirements. So that's the difficult one. But mostly they have a tradition to always ask for Muslim students, especially from this institute.
I got it. Yes. Okay. And what is it that you hope to do? I mean, hope to achieve personally. I mean, are you? What is the master's degree? What are you going to do with that? Sort of like we always ask people, where do you imagine yourself in 10 years, assuming you're alive?
I love history, and then it is the first thing that motivated me to go here, and I think engage in the international level of international level intellectual. It's really fascinating, and I do hope to improve this my level into this. But this that's all my expectation. That I think seeks for knowledge. That's all.
I mean, do you hope to? Do you hope to become a professor one day, or do you hope to affect the intellectual discourse in Indonesia, or are you more interested in the intellectual discourse on Islam in Europe? I mean, just frankly, your compass is towards back to Indonesia, or is it more international?
I think I will back to Indonesia, because a lot of things that I have to do there, the quality of people, the quality of source, the quality of human source, I think I have to take care more than I have to improve my junior there, something. So this experience here, I will spread to them and them. But to tell frankly that I don't really care about being a professor or being an international intellectual level, but I just want to become a people that produce